Sam, we need to talk about respect, and we need to talk about boundaries and respecting boundaries.
I'm glad you're bringing this up, Josiah, because I've also been wanting to have this conversation with you. So I think this is going to be good for both of us.
I mean, I hope that I don't send you down the wrong path where you actually do say something uncomfortable.
Imagine where I'm like, no, this is actually really good. Listen, man, I've been thinking this for a long time.
Yeah, you were just doing a bit, but no, I want to talk about boundaries, not regarding either of us, but regarding a major part of the narrative. And there's been a lot of narrative threads that have popped up in the 16 years that we've been doing this podcast.
Yeah.
And
since birth, this prenatal pod.
We are both 16 years old right now, so you're correct.
Yeah.
Emotionally, at least. No, there's a lot of threads. There's a lot of people who have, like, come in and out of our lives. Some who won't leave, despite many hints. But I think maybe for the first time, we've received a hard no from someone, and we've got to respect their boundaries. And I'm talking about world-renowned parodist Darius Burke.
Yeah. This is a tough one. Because we've had some big names give us polite no's. Like Trombino was a polite no.
Yeah, Discord Records on behalf of Ian Mackay.
Yeah. And To the Stars Academy of Arts and Sciences even gave you like a soft not right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, at the highest levels of science in science and space in the world, people are responding to us, respectfully, not closing the door, saying like, hey, things are a little busy as we explore space and time.
Which is obviously just a nice no. It's
of
not
course,
like an actual,
No, yeah.
I mean, let's be honest, I am banking on it. I do take those at face value. And I'm like, oh, well, as soon as his schedule clears up, we're going to become best friends.
Yeah. I mean, I do kind of think that that's true, but that's not the point that you're trying to make right now, so I'm going to kind of get out of the way here.
The point that I'm trying to make is that there has been never a more enthusiastic no. And so what happened was, and I've just got to... Now, Woody is a big part of the pod now, and he's outside the door meowing, so just fucking 1 second.
Okay, yeah, let him in. So, Woody's kind of the third co-host of the pod. Not really sure what his opinions are about the band. Can kind of sense what his opinions are about Josiah, and they are mixed at best. I feel as if Woody likes Josiah the way that we kind of like California, which is that on some level, ultimately, I'm grateful for its existence. So I think Woody is ultimately grateful for Josiah's existence. But you just sort of wish it was better, and that it treated you with more respect as a fan or a feline.
Have you been vamping this entire time?
Yeah, man. I'm a fucking professional.
Oh, my God. Wow.
Yeah, so go ahead. You were saying.
That fucking cat. Now, there's someone I don't respect. So here's what happened.
Yeah.
Like, I think in my heart of hearts, I've always known that Darius Burks and Captain Narcissist and I Like Funny Things and the account that made all those Up All Night parodies about how their neighbors were keeping them up all night. I think I've always known that it was the same guy, but I've just never bothered looking into it, really.
Mm-hmm. That's sort of the trend with the pod. It's like we know some things and we perhaps could know more, but it requires too much effort.
Well, I think especially just with Darius, as I learn more and more, it becomes so big that I'm just like, this is too much for me right now. Mm-hmm. Like, this is going to become my entire life's pursuit. So basically, it wasn't me, but it was the nation figured out who Darius was, looked him up, and then I was looking around his social media and figured out that he had been sharing things from all the accounts. Darius Burke, if you look him up on IMDb, I don't know, have you seen his IMDb page yet? It's like
you have sent it to me, and it is a remarkable piece of art.
It's truly impressive. So since 2016, he's directed 15 films.
Which is, a remarkable output.
Giving Up Forever is currently in pre-production for a 2022 release date. And it's a horror movie. But these all have, like, posters and trailers. Like, Darius is truly an auteur who I want to, like, dig into deeply. And so I followed Darius with the pod account, and he followed back, and I was like, this is great. We're going to talk to him about his parodies. Then we're going to do like a deep dive exclusive and discuss his filmography and everything. And so a few days passed by, and then I just thought, I'll DM him and try to get the ball rolling here because we have a bunch of guest spots to fill coming up, and this would be perfect. And so I should actually find exactly what I said. I posted it on the social media, but I think I just said, hey, are you the Darius Burke who makes parodies of Blink-182 songs?
Yeah, I think it was a pretty straightforward. You weren't like being clever. You didn't ask if he was the hobbyist. You didn't, say like, do you own all of these accounts? Like how many parody accounts do you have? Yeah,
it was pretty like straightforward. And, and he just replied, no, that's a different guy, and instantly blocked me.
Which is
like, I get it. Maybe you just don't want to be. Maybe you think that you're going to get into this film career and you don't want to be talking about your parodies that you just did for a laugh once, which clearly they are.
Except, like, he's still sharing those parodies from that account.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Like,
but
he's just active.
Saying no, that's a different guy, and then blocking, to me, suggests a level of panic that it's like a cover-up. Like, he could have just blocked me, or he could have said something else, but instead he said, no, that's a different guy, to try to get me off the scent. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like clearly a strong no.
Yeah, methinks the Darius doth protest too much.
Exactly. And I couldn't resist, and so I did screenshot that and share it.
Well, yeah, because it was like a really great comedic timing on his part. Like, just to be like, nope, blocked, is like, yeah, so that's definitely not the guy. Like for sure.
It was just disarmingly aggro. I had to
and it's kind of a shame that, like, because that sort of the parodies and even that makes me think, like, Darius has a good sense of comedic timing. And yet most of his movies seem to be like about sort of like a revolution against a tyrannical left-wing American government.
Right. I mean, his IMDb bio does say that he's both a Republican and an anarchist. So I think that means he's a libertarian, but I'm not totally sure.
Yes. The realist of political persuasions.
Either way, me sharing that made me quickly realize that we as a nation, as people who are obsessed with this podcast, are basically like 2 steps away from becoming a sort of online Gamergate type militia.
Which is so sick.
Yeah, it's sick, but we have to be careful because
we should be reckless, Josiah.
For many, many hours, people were bugging Darius and sharing their own block images, and I think, luckily, it was mostly in good fun. I think, but it was starting to scare me and make me think. Look, Darius says no. Darius doesn't want to be involved with the pod.
Yeah,
we have to respect that, and so this is what we're gonna do, unless he changes his mind one day and comes around. Out of respect for his boundaries, we're going to stop playing his parodies on the pod. There's one about Bernie Madoff that we're just going to have to imagine.
No. Oh.
But we're not going to play them anymore because he doesn't want to be involved, and that's totally fair. But because I respect him and think he's funny, truly, I'm not being ironic, I think he's very funny and I respect his level of output, I would like to say goodbye to him. And so I've written a song for Darius that I just want to say goodbye to him. So,
okay.
Yeah, this is called Darius. I saw you again. I was on SoundCloud again. It was Darius Burke, and I like funny things. And who could forget President Narcissist? It's times like this. Darius. popped up again. It was on Twitter this time. You were promoting your films and I tried to reach out. Your IMDb page rules and I wanted to talk about it. It's times like this. Darius, you're hilarious. You will be missed. So that's for
Wow.
Darius.
Wow.
Goodbye, Darius.
Goodbye.
I will respect your wishes. If you love someone, set them free or whatever. But I will miss you.
And that is why we're doing the song "I Miss You" this week.
Oh yeah. Oh no, my intro was last week we did Untitled. In terms of episodes, last week we did Untitled number 1.
So Untitled number 1, or is it Untitled 1? Do we say the number? How do we?
Well, I mean, this is don't worry, we're going to be talking about a lot of bullshit in an effort to make this a worthwhile episode.
Yeah, or a worthwhile episode could still be a crisp 40 minutes, Josiah. Remember back in the day?
Well,
Okay.
well.
Okay.
Just a good 10 minutes of just me going, well, to
Yeah.
fill it in.
And there'd definitely be a Twitter account that would be like, Blink 155 pod well, and it would just like auto respond to everything that you said with that. So tell me about some of the things you prepared for us in this otherwise barren and difficult week, Josiah.
Well, one of the things I had pasted in here was actually just a clip from The Newsroom because I was trying to convince my friend James Wilt to watch The Newsroom.
Oh, yeah.
He would hate it and love it in all the right ways, but...
The Newsroom is, without a doubt, the most joyful hate watch I've ever had in my entire life. Where, like...
I think it's the same for me. I think Roadies is almost up there, but The Newsroom is definitely, like, the best... like a warm blanket of cringe.
Yeah, totally. The big sing-along in the final episode just like filled me with joy that like I'd have trouble like expressing how I feel about The Newsroom because a hate watch it's not just a hate watch. It's on another
there's
tier.
another layer. Yeah, it's like you don't really hate it. It's like a hate yourself watch or something.
Well, because it's still the problem is like it's still like well written, Like I like the quippy Sorkin-y repartee. Like it's an enjoyable experience if you don't pay attention to like what is actually being said and done on screen.
I think I strongly disagree, but I think what it is that in like 1998, Aaron Sorkin was had the perfect kind of prose and rhetoric, but then like society moved on and we stopped wanting to hear everyone do like a soliloquy every time they talk about going to the bathroom or whatever. It's like every single character is constantly so I was trying. Yeah, that's how I was trying to explain it to him. Is like he just wants to roll up his sleeves and read the goddamn news. And he's so sick of all this bullshit around him. And
He just wants to read the goddamn news. Don't forget that a main character in that show was literally killed by the internet. Like that's a plot point. Is that the internet is so bad it gives someone a heart attack and they die.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's so good. So we've established that The Newsroom is sick. Why on earth have you prepared a Newsroom clip to go along with this song? Because this song is not about the goddamn news.
The other confusing thing about this song title is that I don't use any like word processors because I hate formatting. I hate having to turn off auto caps and everything all the time. So I always use text edit, just like plain old text.
Just a simple man.
I also don't. I either have too many pads or too many pens, but never both at the same time. So I never take notes. Like, I just take notes about anything by like doing Command N in text edit, and then there's a new text window, and then it'll just have like a phone number with no context whatsoever.
Right,
and I know that I need this phone number for some reason, but I don't know why.
Maybe one day you'll remember. Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing that's really confusing is that because this song's called Untitled number 1, I have like I think the notes were originally in the document Untitled 12 because I have so many open, but it's called Untitled 1. So like this is just fucking up my whole horribly disorganized system because everything's called Untitled.
Maybe this is good motivation to finally get organized. I'm going to send you one of those like great memes. It's like somebody pulling out their hair. One of these days, I'm going to get organized, like a little motivational office poster for you.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, so I think I just accidentally pasted that link in here because it's called Untitled, and there's my Darius lyrics that I still wrote out are in Untitled 9.
Right.
Untitled 5 is some random Blink-182 notes I took like 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a mess. And then now that sometimes it goes into the iCloud and sometimes it's on your desktop. Also, everything goes on my desktop. We've established this. All I'm saying is the Untitled naming convention has a close place to my heart because I always either accidentally or on purpose save something as Untitled, and then it adds the 1. So in my mind, it's called Untitled 1 because they already had a file called Untitled on their computer.
Right.
And they added that.
Except for the fact that this song was definitely recorded on a 4-track or some extremely rudimentary piece of like home recording.
And it's from
hardware.
like 1993 when probably I don't even think back then you could save duplicates of the same file name. I think it would force you to rename it. It wasn't smart enough to do that yet.
I think we were still writing on stone tablets in 1993.
I believe those are called floppy disks.
Right, sorry.
This is just like a computer nerd episode.
Yeah, this is like also a 3.5 inch hard disk. Is that what those? Oh fuck, man.
Yeah, what were those bigger, flatter disks called?
Oh, your dick. I don't know, man. So enough Geek Squad humor.
Yeah, I think there's Untitled number 1 and Untitled number 2 have just been named that by the fans. But I think they both just appear on the demo as Untitled.
Like, are they listed? Like, they're sort of just Untitled. But we have agreed that this is Untitled 1, collectively as like a species.
Yeah, like just like society decided.
Yeah.
And we just all fucking go along with it like the goddamn sheep that we are.
Maybe we should change it up. Why don't we call this like just like Untitled 420 or something cool like that?
Untitled 68?
Yeah, Untitled 68
work.
for sure. So body.
What if we just decided this was Untitled 2 and the other one was Untitled 1? Just to prove that we still have some like control on what's happening.
Over what's happening around us. I think that's good. Let's just decide right now to call this Untitled 2.
Okay, so because also the other thing I was trying to think, I haven't actually saved anything in a long time of these documents. So if my computer crashes, I'm gonna lose like the phone number that I badly need to get my wisdom teeth out next year when my insurance re-ups. Because I still have some wisdom teeth that I need to deal with. But I just somewhere have this phone number in some document that I don't remember what it's called. But I was going to say, if you save something called Untitled and then save over it, is the next one Untitled 1 or Untitled 2?
The next one's Untitled 1.
So it just adds the 1.
Yeah, it starts at 1 when on the second
So
Untitled.
that means the first Untitled, and I'm referring to last week's episode, doesn't exist. It's a 0.
Yeah, or that it does exist, but it's impossible for it to exist in this timeline because that song would have been released following Untitled 1, despite the fact that Untitled 1 would, on a purely technical level, have to come after the fact.
Yeah, I guess this is also the issue of like 0 is a thing. Like when it comes to years or whatever, 0 to 1, I always get confused by that too.
Are we talking about like numbers now? Like the nature of numbers?
This is like a numerology podcast.
Okay, cool. I have a copy of Gödel Bach that I've never read. But maybe, like, since you seem so concerned about filling time in this episode, I could work on understanding the concept of infinity, and then
please read the book right now.
Okay, yeah. So this is now an unlicensed. That's going to be the thing that finally gets us in trouble. It's not going to be like 10-second snippets of Blink-182 songs. It's going to be turning this into an audio book.
I think actually, and it's already happened now. And this is sort of some 0 to 1 to 2 shit that I'm talking about because of time is all fluid right now and everything's fucked up because of the Untitled songs. But I think that we should have played the full song on here because it's not that long, and I doubt we're gonna get sued for like a demo that no one owns.
That's going to be the thing that finally takes down the pod. And also, like, do you really want, like, what, it's 2.5 minutes of, like, it's not a great song.
Yeah, so let's stop talking about numerology and talk about the song.
Yeah. I don't think that's like numerology, right?
Just like
Numeration. Yeah.
Remuneration.
Oh no. Let's not discuss my shame. Let's talk about Blink's shame. Untitled 2. Untitled 1.
I hate us, actually.
This is wretched, man. So, what's your take on this song, Josiah?
Well, first of all, since we're still, I think, let's just clarify. On the actual demo, they're both listed as Untitled.
Yes.
Which I actually find very frustrating also because they already intentionally listed 2 songs as Untitled. And then they, on their album, were like, oh, let's have a song called Untitled. But you've already intentionally listed them. And when I say intentionally, I don't mean that, like, they just didn't title it on the tape. Like, here's the lyric sheet from Imgur, which all of our Gamergate member fans will recognize. But the lyric sheet here has Untitled listed on it. Track 5, Untitled.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've already intentionally had 2 songs called Untitled, and then they do another song on Dude Ranch. Like, what the fuck?
How smart and artistic do they think they are? Yeah.
Back to the song. I actually really like a lot of it. And then I don't like when the Walking on Sunshine guitars come in.
Yeah, what is up with that? Like, it's just this idea of, like, it sounds like a different guitar player. So it's just sort of like a perfectly fine, mediocre pop punk song.
It has some, like, nice hits to it. Like, to me, this again sounds like what I imagine Jawbreaker sounds like, but I can't listen to them because I don't like them. But I do.
Right.
This is like a good version of Jawbreaker to me. Or this sounds like a Comet Bus. In the world of Comet Bus sort of band, like just those hits, the do.
Yeah,
I don't know. It sounds like, or maybe even like early Green Day. It sounds like the Bay Area.
To me, it just sounds like I was having trouble even like ascribing a specific like geographic personality to it, and I just felt like it sounded like every shitty kind of punk band that you would see at like Battle of the Bands shows, and it sounded like every demo that I made when I was trying to like record a bunch of parts myself on a 4-track. Like what I found so astonishing about it is like we've talked about this with some older songs, but especially with shit like this that's like so rough, and the lead guitars show like absolutely like zero of the character of like other kind of good early songs, is that like this band is Blink-182. Do you know what I mean? You're like, anyone can do anything if they put their mind to it.
Some Malcolm Gladwell shit.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just like, you just got to rise and grind. Like, you know, can we mention him? Can we talk about DB the P.D.?
We can talk about him on this episode.
Okay, so like that guy grinds, right? Like he's making a movie every 2 months. Like his Twitter must be full of like real like, you know, rise and grind type
motivational.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I want to rewind a little bit. What you just described as being like every demo you made as a kid, there is a very generic pop punk sound to this. But then your demos didn't have this like Stratocaster up-picking Walking on Sunshine guitar, right? Like,
no, I never did that.
On the fact, and also Tom does it multiple times in this era. Like he loved having like a ding 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 ding. I used to think maybe you love me.
This is like a very
man. I just had like a
flashback.
I just had a flashback to being like 8 years old and just fucking loving that song. Having like the greatest day of my life when that song comes on.
Dude, Walking on Sunshine's a great song.
But why did Tom do that? What was his deal?
I think he was recognizing the greatness of Walking on Sunshine. It was a respectful tip of the hat to, you know, his sonic forefathers.
What happens is you start off with Walking on Sunshine and you think that everything's all golden and happy. And then as you get older, you get a little bit dejected, and then you hear "Might as well be walking on the sun."
Oh yeah,
And that sort of leads you into your alternative angst time. And then a third example that would complete this. Put that in here, and then you got it.
You hear "Staring at the Sun" by U2. And
Thank you. Oh, see, I knew it. You're a secret U2 head.
Yo, I love U2. I just think that Bono has some great ideas and a cool look.
But in terms of this song being a generic pop punk song, that's where the lo-fi-ness really helps it. And it's
totally, yeah.
It becomes really quaint and cool, and I would be 100% on board if it wasn't for that goddamn Walking on Sunshine guitar.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like, in general, I like the sort of listening to this song as a, anthropological experience. And again, knowing that, like, this band would, write and record all the small things and then would have a Las Vegas residency. Like, it's truly that thing where, people do this all the time on social media. They'll, like, post a photo of themselves in their tent and just be like, if only this person knew that this was going to happen. Or, like, when you meet a celebrity that you were really into when you were young and you're like, oh my God, they were so cool and I wish 16-year-old me could have known.
Yeah.
Truly, like, listening to something like this and just, like, realizing the, like, absolute sort of bottom rung that this band was starting at, which is, like, where everyone starts at, but that, like, this is the same band. Like, it's not like, oh, here's, like, Mark's shitty band and Tom's shitty band, and then they kind of got together and put out, like, a slick demo as Blink. Like, this is Blink origins. Like, it's really, I find, again, it's not a song I'm going to listen to ever again after, like, the half an hour ago when I put it on before this podcast, but, like, it's really cool, just sonically, from a sort of songwriting perspective, to know that, like, that's where this all comes from, except for the Walking on Sunshine guitar and this guitar solo. The guitar solo is also deeply strange.
I like the guitar solo because I'm okay with, like, strangeness and unfocused, like, meandering mess. Like, again, that points to their early, and we do know that they were influenced by Dinosaur Jr. and stuff, so I think they were probably, like, more into indie rock than any of us realize. And that guitar solo kind of points to that for me as well.
Yeah, it's so funny to think that fucking Jay Mascis is like, yeah, I recognize myself in this.
Yeah, but it could be. But the only thing that I don't recognize is the Walking on Sunshine. We're just going to end every sentence with that.
Yeah, and that's just it sort of it makes it seem like we have some focus, which, like, I think is going to be hard with this song.
Well, I just am frustrated that without that guitar, I would be like, oh, this rule. Like, my brain would use the aesthetics of it to decide that it rules, even though it's objectively just kind of mediocre and boring.
Yeah. It's just like nothing. Like, if this was your friend's band, you'd be like, sick. It's cool that you guys recorded a demo, but you would never think about it again.
Yeah, like, do you guys do any covers or any other songs? That's pretty cool. Have you guys written any other songs? Or?
There's a reason why this song, doesn't get, because other songs on the demo, like, appear later on. Like, this song was discarded early on for good reason.
Yeah, and then I don't know if you've really meditated on the lyrics very much.
I had them open and I thought, okay,
It depends where you look that they also appear differently, because on songmeanings.com they're being very forgiving and changing the lyrics to what makes more sense, which is, I don't even know you when I first put my eyes on you. But even on this allegedly official lyric sheet, it does say, I don't even know you when I pierced my eyes on you. And have I just forgotten this metaphor, or is that not really a metaphor? Or
I don't think you can pierce on anything.
Pierce on? Well, you can pierce on your ear.
Yeah, that's true. You could, yeah. But no, I don't think that that's the way that you can say that. I mean, you can look at, like, language.
You can say anything you want.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech. Our fucking ancestors died so that you could say, pierce my eyes on you.
It's true, yeah. And so far be it from us to sort of shame anyone into utilizing, the English language as they see fit to express themselves. But it doesn't make any sense.
But then again, I kind of like that, because the first half doesn't make sense either. I don't even know you when I pierced my eyes on you. Oh, I guess he's saying,
I didn't know you, but then I saw you.
Right.
Yeah.
I could not even believe what I was seeing. I pierced, but what is he? Because it almost sounds right. I pierced my eyes. Like, what is he trying to say when I first something my eyes on you?
Yeah, I mean, it's fairly obvious that he's just trying to say, like, I didn't know you, and then when I first saw you, I could not believe what I was seeing. These lyrics honestly sound like they've gone through Google Translate, right?
Yeah, which
like,
is cool.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, I remember
this song might have invented the computer. Because it has the Untitled thing.
Untitled 1. So that's something that like we don't give Blink enough credit for, and it's kind of astonishing we've made it through almost 71 episodes without acknowledging their role in computing, home computing technology.
I think oh no, let me think for a second.
Did you ever use
I'm gonna say this. Tom is a Mac and Mark is a PC.
Oh. Yeah,
although aesthetically, I think they're opposite. I think Mark outwardly wants to appear to be a Mac, and Tom does seem more computery and geeky like a PC. But in terms of their function, and one being creative and kind of like out of control, and the other one being sort of a bit uptight, I think I've nailed it.
Right, but that also assumes that you're like wholesale buying into Apple's marketing of their products, and not necessarily. Like what you're talking about is simply like positioning in the market, not actually like functionality.
Yeah, true.
Right.
I mean, I believe that Macs don't get viruses, and I'm also still using Safari because Chrome doesn't work on my computer anymore. So
right. So it's
do
like
with that what you will.
Yeah, totally. I mean, which of them do you think is the more sickly? Like I don't know. Mark seems relatively healthy.
Yeah, that's true. Tom looks different in every single photo. And, like, I'm not the kind of person who thinks that you should, like, make assumptions of people what they look like, especially as they age and post photos. Like, they should be allowed to sort of age. People's body changes and face changes as they get older. And that's, like, we shouldn't be hard on people for that. But I'm talking about he'll post 2 photos in the same day, and he'll look 20 years different in each photo. Like, it's baffling.
That's why you just got to find your light, man.
Yeah. So anyways, they invented the computer.
Yeah. And now you're determined. But like also what is Travis and all that? Like Travis can't be like Linux or something because that doesn't.
Well, Travis I think is maybe the dark web.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's good at this point, right?
No, I think and I think Scott is like some open source do-gooder shit, Creative Commons, like all the
Yeah, he's like the Wikipedia, like Wiki Foundation. Yeah, totally.
So, in case anyone is still listening to the podcast and hasn't turned it off in a fit of rage, we've just decided that 2 of them are computers. One of them is like a decentralized online connection service thing, and then the other one is Wikipedia.
It's a not-for-profit, yeah. So that makes sense. That's about as smart as anything we've said on this podcast.
But I kind of do think that these lyrics do end with something a little bit charming, and I don't really get what he's saying entirely because I do think this was written by one of his bodies of a different era, of a different age that he seems to shapeshift between. Like it is very alien. But I do like that he says something about reaching down to tie his shoes, and then he hopes that she sees him and thinks, oh, he's down on his knees. Like I think that's kind of a cute scenario.
Yeah, I also like that he talks about pulling up his pants. Like he's like, ooh, gotta make sure that I'm at my best here.
Oh, so you think it's like he's worried that his butt crack is going to show when he goes to tie his shoes, or? Well,
no. To me, it's like he's like, oh, I don't want to look just like a sort of like scuzzy skater, like with my loose laces and saggy jeans.
Right.
So I'm gonna, got my shoes tied tight. I hope I don't get in a fight, kind of vibe. Like he's preparing.
Well, it's cool that that is cool that it's funny because now cool kids will pull their dickies all the way up and have as much ankle showing as possible. So that's really another sign of how things have changed and maybe how much they invented this look that is now among modern hip kids. But what I'm trying to say that I think is cute is just in general, he's hoping that she'll misinterpret him tying his shoelaces as him down on his knees, and it's like he's too nervous to ask her out. But he's hoping that like he can just sort of fail upwards into asking her out just by tying his shoes.
Imagine asking someone out by getting down on your knees, though.
I know, but it's just cute.
Like,
Come on. This is just like a cute, like, Peanuts scenario. I love it.
I'm just imagining, like, that's how you ask Sarah out on your first date.
I think I used to wear Velcro shoes or anything.
That's right. So there's no mistakes. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the lyrics are like very confusing, but again, I love this like earnest Tom. You know, we talked about this obviously with the last Untitled song that like Untitled version 1 from the future. You know, the whole thing about like the life that was reflected, like just this idea that he has already built an entire fantasy like around him and this person being together. And then the whole thing of like, but I'm asleep. Like, where you're like, what? Like, it's literally a shitty Twilight Zone where you're like, what's happening? Oh, it was all a dream. Like, that's it.
Well, yeah. And also when you look at the lyrics as they're written on this lyric sheet, not when people write down the part that repeats, which I assume is meant to be a chorus. I don't know. But if you look at it on the lyric sheet, this thing that I'm talking about of him being on his knees is the very last thing that hits. And you can tell that he's sort of, in his idiotic way, he's trying to write something that leads to a punchline. And it does feel like the whole thing is like either written like a narrative story or written like a joke, where it does actually deliver. It builds up to something at the end, at least.
Well, good to know that he was like already sort of understanding how to like, you know, set up and deliver a good punchline.
And I also think that when these lyrics seem like they're Google Translate and they're so confusing and there's not that many of them, I actually really like it. Like, I think these lyrics are pretty good, to be honest.
I think they're cute. And just like, as opposed to like even trying to be like way too clever, you know, we took this on, you know, say like the California songs where it's just like, the ocean is a tiger and it's eating me alive. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Whereas this is just like, my shoes, I like you. Yeah. I'm sleepy though, and it's just sort of like sweet. It's literally and earnest.
Just describing like 1:45 p.m. in high school. All those feelings, like you're like tired, a little bit like unkempt. It's great.
Like this again, like not only sonically, but it's like this reminds me of just like kind of bad lyrics that like I would write for my high school band, which are like actually much worse than this, and that's why I'm not, you know, famous. But
yeah, bring them up. Let's get those out of here.
It's fine. I don't think anyone needs that. I think we're good.
But also he doesn't say like, oh, you're so hot or whatever. He says, I thought of your personality. Like, what a cutie.
But I feel like that's the thing where I'm like, okay, he's reaching. Like, it's just like, you know.
Yeah, he's still being a damn cutie. Either way.
Just like, it was just thinking about just how sweet and funny you are.
You think that's not sincere? I don't know. I think it is.
I mean, when you're
Tom
like
was just a little innocent little cutie back then.
I just think like when you were in high school and you were just like a ball of hormones and like jizz, that like when you were asleep, were you like, I'm just thinking about all the personalities of the girls that I like?
Sometimes.
Okay, well, good for you, man.
You've never had a crush before?
No, never in my life.
I'm also trying to think. Okay, wait, 75. How do you get to 93 from 75?
Ooh, 17?
Okay, so he wrote this when he was...
Are you counting the 0 year, though? Because
oh, my God. I'm about to have an aneurysm. So, never mind. He was 18 when this came out, and then now it seems very infantile and, like, twee-cocking to have written this. In my mind, this was like a 12-year-old writing this song. Not an 18-year-old.
I mean, that's when it came out, so let's assume that they, like, recorded... 17 is still, like, young and stupid. Like, when did you start writing lyrics that you thought were remotely good?
Never. I don't think I ever have. Like, right. I think... But that's a whole different thing. Lyrics are hard. But it's better to like write something dumb like this and not overthink it than it is to write the Tiger Ocean metaphor over and over again.
Yeah. Like I think it's like this is like 17. What grade are you in when you're 17? Like you're still like a weird kid.
Grade 10 or 11. I don't know. Yeah. Actually, I do think also that like this it's not a horny song, and it's like there's not enough of these songs from them actually that are just like, I really like you and I think you're cute.
He's horny. Like, nice. He's horny for their charms.
He's horny of the heart. And that's what I like. But actually, again, seeing that they were 18 when he was 18 when this came out does kind of baffle me.
Right. You feel like maybe he's a little too old for that?
Maybe a little.
All right. Well, I can't believe you're bringing your like ageist judgment now to Tom's like romantic entanglements. It was also a more innocent time, man. They didn't have like internet dating as well. Like I think you're thinking of the accelerated.
Right, all of the 18-year-olds are on Plenty of Fish now.
Exactly. That's the 17, 18-year-olds that just populate those services.
It's like an old person's misinterpretation of the dating apps. Like, all these goddamn kids on their Plenty of Fish every weekend. All these kids just go on J-Date all weekend.
Yeah. Or like Mega Date or whatever all the other...
Another thing that is actually hilarious is because I have this lyric sheet open. This sweet, kind, innocent, heartfelt song comes right after Degenerate, where he calls Sally fat and calls Bend Over gay.
Yeah, the last line before Untitled is saw Bend Over again and he's still gay. And then it's like, you're so sweet. Like, come on, guy.
But that is I guess the 17-year-old brain is like you're a piece of shit when you're with your friends, but then when you're alone you're like, oh man, I can't stop thinking about that girl's personality.
It's true.
That's the duality of a young man.
Yeah, Degenerate is like, you posing for your friends, and then Untitled is you just in your bedroom sort of quietly swooning.
Exactly. So there's not a
cover. There's no facts about this song.
We're not on covers yet, but there are actual copies of this in existence. So this is where I got the lyric sheet from. It's this post of someone saying they want to sell it. On Discogs, 2 people say they have it, and 133 people say they want it.
Wow.
And then this is the best. This photo of the actual cassette. It's crazy. It's like so wild.
Holy shit. Okay, so this is like just like a straight up like dubbed tape. Obviously, it's a Denon DX1, 90 minutes. Anyway, and then it's got like type,
and also they put the same thing on both sides of the tape.
Yeah, so it's just like where you'd like write in, like Josiah's Summer Mix is like a sort of like label, but one of those ones that just like looks like a typewriter and it's all worn off and it's Blink Demo 2. Like this looks like they should put this as the cover of the next album. Do you know what I mean? This is sort of thing where like remind people where you're really coming
speaking
from.
Speaking of U2, didn't U2 do that with the one that they forced on iPhones?
I don't remember, but that sounds
the
like
Yeezus cover as well with the CD. That would be so cool.
This would be so sick. Like this is so sick.
And then the actual cover of the tape is like just like somehow typewritered onto the tape thing. It says Blink Demo 2 for promotional use only, and then we have Mark's address, Mark Allen Hoppus. 17338 Francisco Drive, which, because I was struggling to find things to talk about, I did Google Map it.
I was about to do it, so I'm glad you prepared.
I don't know if this will automatically go Street View. Yeah, it will. So
whoa.
Yeah.
The future is so weird. Like we're looking like you are in Calgary, I am in Toronto, and you just sent me a message that allowed me to look at Mark Hoppus's like, is this his childhood home or is this like
I assume so. I don't know.
God, this is so weird. Oh man, everything's weird.
What is this shit in the driveway? Clean your goddamn driveway. If the Google guys come in, clean your driveway.
You should. And like, this has got to be, is this like, the Discord house? Do you think a lot of people make pilgrimages to...
I'm sure Bill's given it a cruise by.
Bill's definitely cruised by with the top down, with a shirt off in Travis Barker's Cadillac. I mean, his Cadillac, obviously, but...
Right. I don't know. Yeah, it's just...
Hold on. That's where Pat went to that house? Okay, sorry. I was just... Ashley is here and obviously overheard... Unfortunately, I had to listen to all of that. And friend of the pod, Patrick Wynn Williams, who's, of course, the head brewer at Blood Brothers, at least previous beer of the pod.
I got to say something about that, too, because... I was under the impression that he owned Blood Brothers.
Well, he owned all the delicious flavors.
Right, and that's fine, but what you're saying is like your friend worked there.
But he was like the head brewer.
I mean, I'm not trying to tear down his job, but he worked for them And then we gave them a bunch of free advertising and a whole bunch of people bought the beer. Like, did he get some money for that at least? Or?
No, I don't think he got any money, but he made all those beers. So people went out. No, here's the thing. It's like
we lined his boss's pockets. I'm sure that he didn't get a cut of this. I mean, I'm just saying I want him to get the money, not the fucking suits at Blood Brothers Brewery.
So maybe we can all, like, we'll do a GoFundMe for Pat for all the money that we all spent on his
now it's too late.
The boss's beer
no,
or something?
Someone needs to Robin Hood his boss's ass. Give it to him.
I love how, I think we've only talked about this off the pod, but like you are such a firm believer in the idea that like even in like small businesses, the sort of myth that the owners are on your side as a worker, like that it's a lie and that
exactly, of course it's a lie.
Okay, yes, so that's fine, but you know, people went out and they had, you know, Pat is a brewer, he makes the beer, and then people went out and tasted his juice, and I think that like that's his art.
I'm pro Pat, but I'm saying
you're anti-boss. I understand.
Someone else profited from us being pro Pat.
Right. I mean, look I long for the same socialist utopia that you do, Josiah. I'm just, in this context, I think it was fine. The point is, Pat's been traveling all around. He put up a Blink-155 sticker at Gilman, which Josiah thought was the bovine or something because he's not a punk. And then evidently he went to Mark Hoppus's house, right?
Look.
No, it's not near Vegas. It's in San Diego. Okay, it turns out we might have been lied to.
She's thinking of Fat Mike's house, I think.
No, did he go to Fat Mike's house?
No, it's
the punk vacation house.
Okay, Ashley's gonna sort of check in, and we'll have an update on.
All right, we've got to edit out this whole section.
No, man, this is
while you were talking, I said enhance to my computer. Well, actually, I just zoomed in, and that thing on the driveway is just a newspaper. So a little nod to the pageman. Print
Right.
is alive and well at the Hoppus home.
That's good, man. In San Diego, that's great.
But listen, all I'm trying to say here is this.
Yeah,
I kind of think. So this thread here, someone said, considering selling my Blink-182 pre-182 Demo 2 cassette. This is on Vinyl Collective boards. And people are offering this guy $1, $5. They're like, what am I supposed to do with the tape? First of all, have you guys not read that cassettes are the new vinyls and they're making a comeback?
Oh, yeah. Get with it, guys. Do you have a tape deck?
That's the only thing I own is a Walkman now.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Sick.
But anyways, and shout out to the listener of the pod, Eric Axon, for sending me his when I was looking for one.
Walkman?
Yeah, thank you. It's not actually a Walkman. It's like, but something like, it's a cassette, a portable cassette player. I can't remember what make it is. But yeah, when Cody from SAC Cody, when he sent me all those tapes, I was like, oh shit, I should probably find a way to listen to this. So I listen to tapes now.
Sick, man. You're part of the trend.
My point is, there are 2 people that have this on Discogs. 133 want it. It has never been sold. And this person is considering selling it, and all these people are making a mockery of him, saying $1, $5, etc. As I keep reading, someone's like, the thing about cassette demos, I could make one of these with little effort. And you know what? That's kind of true, but also, and here's where I'm going to get a little bit quiet. I think we should bootleg this and make bootlegs.
Yo, that's a good idea.
Because realistically, who owns this? Who's going to sue us if I literally make this bootleg?
I mean, I don't think anyone's going to sue us. I think this is how we make our millions or our fives or whatever.
So maybe we should boot the Blink Demo 2.
Yeah, okay.
I think that would be so cool.
That's a great new project. Yeah, totally.
So maybe we'll do that next year. Because we're starting a cassette label next year. We're doing the Free Punk Lyrics comp.
And will our second release be boots of
boot? It might have to be because I'm intrigued by this idea.
Yeah. And we're gonna have to get like a typewriter or whatever in order to be able to sort of reproduce it authentically. It's going to be like when you were a kid and you were in school and you had to like write a letter from Pioneer days and you'd like stain it with tea and put it in the oven. Yeah. So we should get like really into it, like really tap into our crafty side.
This is really nerdy, but I've noticed the picture of the cover on Discogs is different than the one on this Imgur. So these might be the only 2 people who own it. Like, I wonder how many of these were actually made.
I mean, you would have uncovered that information as the person sort of who does the work.
Well, you know what? It was hard to search Blink-182 Untitled, but it was even harder to search Blink-182 Untitled #1.
Yeah.
So
I look forward to whatever trash came of this process.
Well, Sam, I'm glad you said that. No, here's what happened. Obviously, there's no covers of this, but there are, and this is going to be really fun, I think. There are tons and tons of fake Blink-182 demos floating around where people have pretended that they found a demo and then they like lie, and then people listen to it and they're like, eh. So I've written down a few of these so we can get into some fake demos if you want.
Yeah, that sounds actually fucking great. This is like old Napster days when people would mislabel things as being from a popular band when it was actually like whatever their kind of trash local band was.
It's like when you know that everyone's going to be searching for Steve Aoki featuring Blink-182, Why Are We So Broken?
Yeah.
And so you release a
strategically
with the exact title at the exact same time.
Geniuses.
I actually don't think that really did much for us. I don't think it exploded like I thought it would.
No, it's too bad.
Maybe less people were searching for that than I assumed.
I don't know how excited people were about that in the end. I mean
the way I consume music now is the new releases tab on Apple Music, and that Steve Aoki album was like number 12 on that tab.
Oh, disrespectful.
Poor guy.
Maybe he's really going to need the sort of bounce of appearing on the pod now. So
exactly.
Revitalize your career. Come on the pod, Steve Aoki.
Actually, the one I just sent you, I don't want to do yet because there's one no, maybe I do. I thought there was one that was like a fake old one, but there's fake demos from every era of the band. People are like, "Oh,
so
I just
weird.
discovered this," and
what
it's
a
like
bizarre impulse.
Because the mislabeling on LimeWire or whatever, that's like you're trying to convince someone to listen to your band. But these have been made to sound shitty so that they sound like demos. Like it's pure cosplay. It's not trying to bait and switch someone into finding their new favorite band, a.k.a. your band. But it's like instead, I don't know. I don't get why you would do this.
I mean, I guess it's why people kind of lie about anything. It's like we're all so desperate to like be heard and be seen. And so you're just like, you want to feel important. So you're like, I found an old Blink demo that no one's ever heard.
Exactly. Oh, sorry. That was too early. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I liked how it sounded, though. That's a good fake Blink demo.
Yeah, that was not the one I'm going to play for it. This one is Blink-182 new rare demo songs from new album 2010.
Okay.
Uploaded by Jumbo Jimmy Jim in 2010. Rare demos of new Blink-182 album. You can hear Tom. So this would be fake Neighborhoods, right? Because Neighborhoods is the...
Yeah.
I think... I don't know. I don't know what year any of this shit came out. So let's hear what this sounds like.
It would be, so Neighborhoods was 2011. So this is, again, in terms of facts, we should know.
Sorry, there's a lot of silence at the start, and then it comes in. I think these are just like snippets, too.
What the but like, so did he just comp together a couple of bands that kind of sound like Blink and then make it sound shitty?
I guess, like, someone said one of them is a band called Your Last Call, and the song is called Intersection 21.
So
look at his MySpace. So I don't
weird.
know if it's this guy trying to promote. None of this makes any sense. Like, again, I know that you've said that it's just to feel something, and that might be true, but why would you do this?
I don't know.
Tell me why you would do this.
And this is the second time that he's done it, because he also has Blink-182 demo song from new album Summer 2009 as one of his 5 other uploads.
And a Rickroll of all the small things.
Cool.
But it says Rickroll in the title. Yeah, it's so odd. I like that one of the songs was like, I don't want to go to school.
Which was like, that'd be a good Blink song. I guess the motivation, though, truly is just to like literally, like, why do we do this podcast? Like, we want people to, like, acknowledge us and be like, oh, Josiah, you're so funny. I
don't want anyone to acknowledge me.
Sure, yeah, definitely. That's why none of us have social media accounts, and we don't, like, try to, like, tweet our amazing, takes and quips or whatever. Like, this is just like another slightly stranger to us version of that impulse, right? You just want to contribute.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Most people don't, get to have podcasts where they can just talk about numerology for like an hour and have people like make a Twitter account about it. And so I think like otherwise it's like, well, what's the thing that is going to make people sort of pay attention to my otherwise like meaningless and miserable existence?
I got to play the rest of this video because one of the comments says that the last one is some weird stuff from Rite of Spring. And I wonder if they mean Rites of Spring?
What?
I don't know. I'm just going to play the last 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that wasn't Rites of Spring.
That's not Rites of Spring, yeah. I don't think anyone involved in posting or commenting on that video should be trusted.
Well, I also like kind of how you've already described the writing a fake pioneer letter. Because I think that's, like, in 8 years ago when the person did this, I feel like they probably didn't have a very good version of GarageBand where they could fuck around with it to make it sound old. So maybe they, like, put this through a cassette deck and then recorded it onto, like, a handheld recorder or something. Like, it's fun to think about how they would have...
Right, what's the analog version of sort of faking a demo?
Yeah, I guess you're right. I was asking the wrong question. It's not why, but like how.
Yeah, exactly. You just had to come at it from a different angle. And yeah, they just had to write this is a pioneer letter. This is like a school project. They're like, the typhoid has taken my son.
Oh, I love it. Well, we may as well listen to the other fake demo that he had. So this is a new album, Summer 2009, of which there would have been none. And they said, probably demo of the new song, and then in all caps, fucking good.
Hell yeah. Well, you got to have a point of view, and I respect that Jimmy Jim has one. What the, like, it's...
They definitely have some Rancid bass.
Yeah, like...
on their new song.
Yeah, like, just fucking... just tickling that bass. I mean, what's so weird about this is, like... So this has 60,000 views. 67,000 views. And... there's like a reasonable number of people being like fake, and then a surprising number of people being like, why does it have to be fake? I actually saw this and this is the shit where like you're like everyone is making stuff up, and this is also like such an intriguing kind of harbinger of where we've sort of landed in our like nightmare present in terms of this like shared delusion that so many people kind of seem to have in terms of like what is like not reality anymore. Someone being like, I actually heard this in an interview with Mark talking at the end of it, so like I actually do think it's them. And you're like, why are you adding to this? Like, what the fuck? But this is all people do now. Like, this is 9 years ago, and this is the way our discourse unfolds now.
I love that. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think part of it, to bring it back to ageism, which I do think is the only good ism other than jism, I think that the problem is that...
Is that like a thing that you just said, or have you like...
Yeah, I just made it up.
Remember that. That's nice.
Now I forgot my actual point.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the problem is that not only is it like people of different, economic backgrounds or different upbringings or whatever, that's good theoretically for having healthy debate, to have everyone together at once. But the other problem is that, like, we don't know if any of these people are 8-year-olds or 35-year-olds. Like, the fact that 8-year-olds are allowed to be on equal footing with everyone else is kind of a problem.
Is it just 8-year-olds specifically that you have a problem with?
Yes, that's the age.
Like, what? Did an 8-year-old really hurt you, Josiah?
It's because they don't listen to Walking on Sunshine anymore. They just like go online and make up lies.
Yeah, they just go online. They go on Tinder and Plenty of Fish, and then they lie about
this
Blink
is actually
demos.
this comment section is amazing though. Like, someone says not, and they've written it in title case, which again I love when people do that. It's so weird, but they wrote not them. Is it not a?
Sorry, what's title? What's title case?
Like, every letter is capitalized, like a title.
Oh,
when
like
people write on,
all
like, that
caps?
online, like, no,
Or you mean
like title case? Title case, like, it's like capital. Every word. Is
Oh,
capitalized.
okay, I get it. Yeah, sorry, Ashley's yelling at me. I've never really was an editor. I was like working class, in my pagement days.
Anyways, and they've bothered to write it in title case, but they've also spelled the word coincidence COINSIDANCE. So they say, is it not a coincidence that there's no singing?
An amazing way to pronounce that. Coincidence? Delightful accent that you've developed to make that work.
Honestly, as I see this comment section keep loading more and more and more,
it goes on forever.
I do understand now why people make these fake demos, because this is great.
Yeah, like if you did this, you'd be like, this is hilarious.
I kind of do want to do it.
You should definitely drop, or we should because we had, I think, like a pretty big lift when you kind of kicked the hornet's nest of sort of Sum 41 songwriting credits in the My Pet Sally episode with Ben Cook, and then subsequent episode featuring Cone to kind of try to set the record straight. But the point is, like, that got picked up, by Vice, by Exclaim, and we saw an uptick in listenership. Now, we haven't really broken through to mainstream music news since then. And so perhaps we should pretend that, like, we have found, like, a
new demo.
Yeah.
I also think it'd be amazing to go the more hi-fi route, which I'm not capable of, but if somebody made a fake demo for the new album that they're working on.
But that's what I mean.
California.
Yeah. If we're like, this apparently came from like some early sessions with Feldman, and what you do is I think the key, and you see people do this all the time, who are like obscuring the truth online today in our, again, nightmare present, which is like, I don't know if this is real, but I'm sharing it because it could be important. And you know that it is fake, obviously, but it furthers your narrative.
I'm so happy that you just said that, because the next two are from this all punked up article that is exactly that.
Oh, sick. Because they know it's fake, but it's like, you're going to get clicks for this, so why not? This is from like last week.
Yeah. And so this says, is this Blink-182 demo real? And then there's a whole article about this.
But this is definitely like some clickbait stuff, where it's like, first, a little history of the band Blink-182. And you're like, yeah, make a scroll. I love it. So...
I didn't actually read this yet because I found it while I was eating breakfast and making you wait for me.
It's fine. I was like packing. I was getting ready.
Oh, yeah, because Sammy's going on tour.
That's right. This episode will come out, and I will be in jolly old England. So
why would you make fun of them like that? You don't need to say it sarcastically.
I know. Sorry, I'll be in jolly old England.
Yeah, say it with the utmost seriousness.
Yeah, and respect.
So
it's kind
like
of funny. Sorry, it's just really funny that like that's a way that people refer to England. You know, like no one's ever like cute little Canada. Like it's not. But the idea that there's like a go-to kind of set of adjectives to describe England all the time, and that they're kind of like not rude, but like infantilizing. Anyway,
I mean, I don't know if they actually do say that, but at the same time, British people do actually have like ugly throw pillows with the British flag that say "Keep Carry On." Like they actually they buy merch for their own country. It's really weird. It's not like American patriotism. It's like this weird, like quaint, like, oh, I would also like to have a red phone booth decal on my wall.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? That's weird. Don't do that.
I can't wait to experience it all. So for like 7 hours.
So basically, this dude has shared 2 of them from a channel.
Okay.
And he says, "I'm sorry about the putrid quality of the demo."
Oh wow.
But he's saying it's quite obvious what you're hearing. It's the ending of a song with Mark Hoppus and Tom DeLonge harmonizing. From what I've heard, it sounds like Mark singing about being long forgotten, and Tom comes in to harmonize with "She's silent, she's terrible." You have to listen closely, but it sure sounds close. God.
Okay. Sorry, I'm also really distracted by like the banner at the top of All Punked Up is news, the team, lists, tours, buy an ad.
Yeah, this feels like a honeypot for us to.
Yeah, maybe we should buy $25 for 30 days. You want to buy some ads on allpunkedup.com?
Yeah, we could buy one that says like the demos are fake,
or our demos are real, man. I'm saying
we should. Okay, let's buy an ad for our demo when it comes out.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
here's
okay.
The plan. We're gonna make a demo.
Yeah.
For the upcoming California follow-up. So if anyone is really good at making music that sounds like shit and way too overcompressed, get in touch.
Yeah.
We'll make this demo, then we'll buy an ad that says "Listen to the new demo here."
Yeah.
And then the 10 people who read All Punked Up will click through, and then somehow it's gonna be really good.
And then maybe we can convert them to Patreon subscribers, and then take their money for life.
Exactly. And I would like to add that we are the only ethical small business.
Yeah. Well, because we are totally flat organizationally, right? There's no boss.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, let's listen to unreleased Blink-182 Tom DeLonge demo.
Okay.
In what world would like a modern sounding Blink-182 song, and I just want to add that this user that they've built an entire article about wrote this as, in all caps, Blink-182 new song demo 100% real.
Well, 100%. They're not even hedging. I kind of respect that. Like, just go all in.
But in what world would like a modern like this, unless this was from like 1968, how would it sound this bad? Unless like, is it like an FBI recording or something?
Maybe, yeah. Like surveilling Tom, they're kind of like worried about, like all of the sort of dangerous knowledge that he's been accumulating, and so they just want to make sure that they kind of know exactly what's going on. I mean, here's the thing, because you're playing these like demos and they're coming like through like a sort of mediocre Skype connection, and I'm wearing sort of like shitty headphones. Like if you were to play these for me just in the course of a normal episode and be like, here's actually another untitled demo that was never officially released, maybe this should be part of the 155, I don't know, I would have been like, okay, cool, I guess, you've done the work.
Right.
So like I could be quite easily tricked.
That's a good impression of you.
Thanks. Yeah, I've heard myself talk quite a bit.
Then again, someone did comment and say that this is from Tom's Facebook in 2014. For those asking.
Oh, see,
so
again, like,
but is that a lie?
It is a lie, and again, this is what's so fucking fascinating. Is like we are in this moment. I mean, you know, this week that we are recording, we're sort of just following the week in which, and there's all kinds of like real stuff happening in the world that mostly doesn't
The news.
the
news
goddamn news. But okay, like the thing that there's all these things where you're like, well, that's a new low, or that's a new kind of horrifying thing, was the like manipulation of the Jim Acosta video that was then, you know, like shared by Sarah Huckabee Sanders. And you're just like, if we can't agree on a baseline of like a baseline of truth, and obviously truth can be manipulated, but like what we see with our fucking eyes or hear with our ears, if we cannot agree on that, because like at the highest levels, what we see and hear is being manipulated to sort of further people's like narratives and political agendas, like that's so terrifying. But you see the roots of that in shit like fake Blink demos, where like someone who's just willing to go along with this delusional fantasy that there's like all of these unheard Blink songs that feature Tom and like your dad never left you or whatever the fuck it is, that like you're like, yeah, this I saw this on Facebook, or like I heard an interview with Mark where he talked over this, and you're like, you didn't though. It's like the same as people like, but this is also like why people believe in like conspiracy theories and why they believe in religion. Like we buy into these collective delusions, and it's like astonishing to think that there's sort of actually no difference between thinking that like Jim Acosta judo chopped someone, that like Tom is, you know, still recording Blink demos like somewhere in like this sort of mythical past, and that like God is real or whatever.
But sometimes these things are maybe real.
Oh, that's the problem, right?
The other video by this user is apparently an actual demo that ended up becoming Golden Showers in the Golden State.
Right. So there's always this shred of like believability, right?
Yeah, exactly. So let's hear that one. I don't know, this is kind of confusing me even more.
Weird. But again, is that like a faked demo? Like that just took the actual... Because Golden Showers is a demo, the version that we have of it. So is that like a demo of the demo?
I mean, I don't know. Look, I'm just reporting what I find. I'm not trying to get into a whole thing about...
I get that you're just doing the news, yeah.
Yeah, I'm the pageman here. You're doing the newsroom sort of rant about how about society.
I am Jeff Newsroom in this scenario.
I don't know. So maybe those ones were real, because that, like, I think he re-recorded the demo of Golden Showers to prove that he had been working on Blink songs. But I still don't understand why on his Facebook in 2014 he would have played like the worst possible recording of these demos.
I don't know.
It's really weird. But let's move on. There's a few more that we can get into. I don't know. Now I'm starting to wonder if we were too hard on All Punked Up, because there was enough of a thread of a narrative that if there was a slow news day on the All Punked Up news Slack, that he might have done that.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like the shreds of believability and the sort of holes in the stories that we are told that are true. It's like people will rush to fill those gaps, and that's what's happening.
You can never be proven right or wrong.
I know.
It's because you've let 8-year-olds into the discourse.
It's the most goddamn 8. 7-year-olds fine, 9-year-olds fine. Just at 8, just take them out of the conversation, please.
Yeah, because 8 is half of the sex number. So this one's uploaded by Clark Covers 95, and it's listed as 2015 Blink-182 new song leaked demo. Just the classic phrasing of how you know it's a real thing. So let's hear this one. So in the comments, and this is probably what people are hoping will always happen, but everyone has responded like, look, dude, we know this is fake, but you're fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Turn these into real songs.
It's like overwhelming. Like this is just like a sea of people pumping this person's tires. It's like really nice. Everyone's like, look, this is obviously fake, but like finish the song. Like we want to hear it. This is amazing. I love it. It's fake. Chills. Like they're acknowledging that they know that it's fake. There's someone in here from Indonesia complimenting it, which is of course. Like I know it's not them, but I love it. It's exactly what I'd want from them. What?
Here's another one that Clark Covers 95 did. This is 2016 leaked demo. Again, someone on here is like, what the hell happened to your fully done version of the leaked song? I want to hear it so bad. So people have just accepted Clark Covers as someone who makes fake Blink-182 leaks, and they love him.
But that sounded sick, too. Like, this sounds like all the bands I like.
So there's 3, then let's keep going. There's 3 on here that are, like, demos that are just, I assume, the fake Blink songs turned into songs.
Okay, yeah.
So this is Demo song 0003 demo 1.
Little bit of silence here, Clark. Yeah, it's losing me a bit here.
This is some bed tracks again.
Yeah. Like, I'm definitely buying a laptop to this.
A Mac or a PC?
Oh, this is like PC buying music for sure, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, hopefully that one was 2 Angels and Airwaves, but then there's also song 004. I don't know where songs 1 and 2 went. It's all about numbers this week. Kind of good.
Yeah, again, like I want to hear these with vocals. Like Clark Covers 95, finish these things up, please.
Yeah, come on.
I want to add my voice to the chorus here.
Okay, add your voice to this one. This is demo 5.
Okay. I don't even know when I pierced my eyes on you. I couldn't even believe what I was seeing. The light that was reflected and went right on through my head.
Wow, that was really good.
Yeah, they're good songs.
Wish you hadn't have said pierced my eyes. But,
well, I was reading from the lyric sheet.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how this fake person did come up with more interesting chord progressions than any of the other new Blink songs out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the sort of thing where I'm like, Clark Covers, set yourself free, start a band. Don't just, you've obviously got people ready and waiting to, hear your fake Blink song, so.
Now, maybe this one's not fake, but I think it is fake. But this one is like a total. The other ones have been all like Angels and Airwaves and like Neighborhoods fake demos. This one is supposedly a Blink-182 Lost Song demo, rare 90s, with the iconic Mark Hoppus punk jump as the photo.
Yeah.
I think this is fake, but maybe not. I don't know. It's
I can't believe that you've really like now opened up to the idea that these are all real somehow.
Well, you started doing like this annoying atheist rant where I was like, I'm gonna believe these now.
I mean, I was joking about making it about God, and I'm sorry, it didn't land clearly.
you went down a Joe Rogan-y path where I was like, no, these are all real now.
Right? Yeah. Once you're like, I don't want to be on the same side as this guy, so
yeah,
I get it.
No, but this one.
This is what drives people to extremism.
There is a comment by Fuzzy Chewbacca that says, "Sounds fucking awesome song. Tom is singing so naturally." So that leads me to believe maybe it is real.
Because you trust Fuzzy Chewbacca?
Because things are so political these days, the user who uploaded this, their username is Filibuster LA County.
Oh my god.
YouTube is such a mess.
Yeah, it's a bad platform.
I don't know. I'm going to go into this believing that it's real, and we'll see how long I can last. You can go into it believing that it's all fake and that there's no conspiracies in the world.
I mean, this is like definitely in keeping with, in terms of who's the believer, Imagine Dragons, and who isn't.
There we go. Yeah, okay. Let's test it out. This is pure apologetics here. Let's go. I just want to pause and say that it's definitely fake. I can already tell. But
that's right. So you've tested the limits of your own belief.
But I love it. Like, okay, it sounds lo-fi in the way that it sounds lo-fi if you record directly into your laptop.
Yeah,
it doesn't sound like someone's recording tape. It has like digital hiss on it, so it's the 2007 garage rock aesthetic, but with pop punk, and those things go together very well, in my opinion.
I did not hate it. Yeah,
I liked it, but I mean, that sounds nothing like Blink-182 in any way.
No, but good job, good effort.
So there's one left that I'm going to do. This one's actually on SoundCloud. And this is uploaded by Ush Singer. And it's Blink-182 Untitled Demo 1998. So they've really tried to do all of the signifiers to suggest that this is early 90s Blink. I'll pass you the lyrics here too so you can read along.
Okay, thank you.
It's true though. The last one, like the comment tricked me. It was so sincere that I was like, oh, maybe it is real.
Good to know, like, sort of what the sort of context clues are that you require in order to sort of immediately buy into the. After like listening to 100 fake demos, you're like, this one though, this one's real.
I know, I don't get it.
You want to believe,
also,
man.
Yeah, but also you are like eternally the half glass full guy, but you also don't believe anything is true.
I'm like just my new YouTube channel is going to be like the optimistic skeptic.
Here we go.
I liked that.
Yeah, me too. I think what I always think is like, oh, instead of covering a Blink-182 song with your friends, why don't you just like change the lyrics and change one chord and make it into a band? And then this person is one step closer but still not getting it. Like, just like start a sick pop punk band, because it's pretty good.
That's what I don't get. Like, I would be like, cool, this would be like in the scooped up vein of this makes me want to like go find this band's like full EP or album or whatever and listen to it. Except I can't do that because they tried to fool me, and I'm not fooled because I'm very smart and
because you're the skeptical optimist.
Yeah. But like I'll never know. I'll never know who this band is that I definitely would like.
Yeah, because that was good. Like, what are you doing, Ush singer?
Yeah, Ush singer, like, believe in yourself a little more.
Trying to trick us that this is Usher's account on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
I don't like that either.
So wait, you're telling me that Usher found an unreleased Blink demo from the 90s? I mean, he's connected. If anybody's going to find it, maybe it's him.
That's true. So that's it, I guess.
Okay, sick. So, Josiah, what's your final thought on Untitled 2, Untitled 1 by the band Blink-182?
I'm feeling very disoriented and confused in our post-truth times that we live in. And I would really like it if it wasn't for those goddamn 8-year-olds and their Walking on Sunshine riffs. Yeah, that's fair. So Walking on Sunshine, good song, but you can't extrapolate that like one piece and put it into a pop punk song. That's the worst piece of Walking on Sunshine.
It is, yeah. The best piece is just the like delightful drum beat, and then it sort of
and the horns. Even the horns are good.
The horns are all of it's good except for the thing that you took from it, Tom. So let this be a lesson to you. Perhaps you can do better in the future.
We are here with my good friend, Tim, a.k.a. Tim the Mute is his music name, and he's also the head honcho of the enormous major label imprint Kingfisher Bluez.
Kingfisher Bluez.
Welcome
.bandcamp.com.
Welcome to Blink 155, my friend.
Thanks. Where's Sam?
He's on tour right now, so yeah, but we usually do the guest spots just one-on-one anyway, so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
see, it shows you how far behind. I haven't got to any guest episodes yet on the pod.
Oh man, you're in for quite a journey.
I download a bunch of them to my phone on the tour, but I'm so like hooked on Jack Reacher audiobooks right now.
It's kind of a similar vibe. It's kind of a similar vibe.
Yeah.
Look, I don't care if anyone's listening as long as you're downloading. That's all that matters.
Yeah, perfect. Is it like do you get money for people streaming it?
No, but I think it would be like if we were to ever get ads, then we can show them this inflated download number. So just basically borrow your mom's phone, subscribe to the pod, just anywhere you can find that you can get it downloading. Let's get these numbers up, baby.
Yeah, because I know like on Spotify, if someone streams the Tim the Mute album, I get like a tenth of a penny. But if someone downloads it, I get like $1.50 or something.
Oh shit. Today, speaking of that and of Canada and music, today was the SoCan payout day, I believe.
I got my check.
I got a deposit too, but I was waiting for something else to be reimbursed for a work thing, and it was like less than what I was expecting. So I was like, what the fuck?
Oh, no.
But it turns out it was just bonus money for people listening to Prenup. So that's good.
Should we say how much we got at the same time?
Okay, ready?
And whoever has more gets to do the interview.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. $200.
7 cents.
Oh. I think
wow.
I don't know why it was 200. I mean,
that'll be internet radio for sure.
Yeah, it must have been because we were on Stereo Gum or in that period.
Oh, nice.
But I don't think that would count, would it? It's not.
No, because they're probably streaming off of your Bandcamp.
That's pretty.
Probably
that's
pretty
good that you got 7 cents though.
Yeah, it's because I'm like a co-writer on some of those like songs by my friend's band, Blue Jay.
Oh, okay.
So like, I get like that's like where the 7 cents came from because
you've written like 1.01% of a song or something.
yeah, I'm like a 30% songwriter on like a few of the songs, and like the band is really good, by the way. I should plug it. Blue Jay on Spotify, and I got 7 cents from that, which is like the first SoCan check I've had probably in like 4 years.
You don't get any for Tim the Mute stuff?
I got a penny like not that long ago. Like maybe like 2 years ago I got a penny. The last check I got before that was like 2013. I got $4.
The Canadian music industry is basically just take a penny, leave a penny.
I'll tell you what, I don't know if I took the penny or left it, because if I got a check, I don't think I deposited it. I think you need to get $100 before they cut a check for you.
Oh shit. Well, we're talking.
So someone's taking my pennies.
It's that goddamn Trudeau.
Fucking welfare state.
So we're talking about Canada. We're talking about pennies and morsels that you get in the music industry, and that's a perfect segue into what you are doing right now, which I still can't believe. So all the Americans might not know what's going on, but you're literally on tour right now with the rapper Classified, who many people might know his song "Mayana Ninja."
See, I never heard that song till this tour, but now I've heard it a lot. Yeah, I'm on tour with Classified, the Canadian rapper, and also Canadian rappers Choclair and Maestro Fresh West. We're all on a tour bus together. I am the merch manager. Some people don't know this, but I am a Vancouver renowned merch seller who sells t-shirts and stuff at concerts.
And so you've been, I mean, still, regardless, I don't want to put you in a box, but I still more associate you with kind of indie pop, DIY sort of world.
That's totally okay. I would prefer to not just be known as like a roadie. I would rather be known as like for my, I guess not my day job. This is my day job. I guess I'd rather be known for being a musician and, hopefully an interesting artist.
But now you're like deep in the, like, this is not just sort of like surface level. You're like deep in the Canadian hip hop scene now.
Yeah, I think, we had Red One come out to the show in Vancouver and did a feature. He's from the Rascals, if anyone. I think people who listen to Blink 155 who are Canadian will definitely be of the age where they remember Choclair, Maestro, and the Rascals, stuff like that. So,
right. Definitely.
If anyone wants to call in right now, just
exactly.
Ask me a question.
Well, speaking of, where are you right now? You're like in the middle of Ontario, and also you're not just on your first lap like this. You're doing laps of Canada with these Canadian rappers.
Yeah, it's like 6 weeks of tour. It's like 30 shows.
Holy shit!
It's crazy. We crossed the country 2 times.
Oh my god.
I stayed in Sault Ste. Marie for a total of 3 nights, 2 separate occasions on this tour. And Sault Ste. Marie is a shithole. It is like there's no redeeming qualities to it.
And is that where you are right now, or you're somewhere else right now?
No, we're in North Bay right now, which I guess is a different place from Thunder Bay.
Oh, okay. And you had never crossed, even though you're sort of you are in a lot of people's minds kind of a integral part of Canadian music, I would say.
Thank you. I feel like my record label Kingfisher Bluez has released a heck of a lot of vinyl records. I definitely would say that I at least can't be ignored anymore. You know what I mean? You have to say, if you're gonna make a book about Vancouver music in the 2000s, I would hope for at least like a paragraph or like 1 sentence dedicated to my label.
Oh yeah, I mean, okay, I'll put that in the book. I'll write the
Perfect.
book. But
I actually was hoping Mark Teo would write it.
Yeah, that would be even better. I wonder if you should have gotten a mention in the Big Shiny Tunes book.
You know what? I think it's a slightly different era. Although I did have the cassette tape back in the day. My friend's older sister bought it, and we all dubbed it. I think my tape was like a fourth generation of the Big Shine Tunes tape,
Oh
so
wow.
it sounded really bad.
That's so cool. It was like a demo, which I'm going to talk to you about in 1 second. But I was just going to say, you had never crossed Canada before. So I mean, what do you think of Canada now? Other than I've seen a lot of people are saying a lot of really annoying shit to you at the merch table. But how do you feel about Canada in general?
Well, people are as racist as I expected them to be, but I like I'm surprised how many people are missing teeth, like the visible front teeth in your mouth, because you think if those are all the teeth that I can see, how many people are missing teeth that I can't see?
Now I wonder if that is more of a Canada thing or just a like Canadian rap fan thing.
I don't know. Um, I was in Sudbury last night, and like every single person, I was like, "So what do you do in Sudbury?" And they'd just be like, "I work down the mine." And you're like, "Oh shit, okay." Like every single person works in the mine, and you ask like, "Oh, so why do you live in Sudbury?" And they're like, "So I work in the mine. I live in the town because the mine's here." They just look like they've all sort of they walked into like a career office and the guy handed them like a hard hat and a pickaxe and we're like, off you go down the mine. And you think, where's the passion for mining? You know what I mean?
Right.
They all look like they've accidentally fallen into a career in mining.
Well, look, we all find our place one way or another. Maybe some people are passionate about mining.
Yeah, I asked a bunch of girls what they do, and one sec. What's up, class? Yo, here's a feature. Canadian rapper classified. I'm doing an interview for a podcast on Blink-182. Do you know anything about Blink-182?
Yeah.
What's
Class, what's your
your favorite
input?
song?
They're awesome.
He's saying, what's your favorite Blink-182 song?
The one on Much Music from 18 years ago.
He's saying
Hell
all the
yeah.
small things.
Yeah.
I didn't say much.
Yeah.
I'll let you get to it.
All right, thanks, boss. That's my boss.
That's your boss.
I can't believe that we actually got a drop in from Canadian rapper classified because I've been living on a bus with him for 6 weeks and that I've had like about that much conversation with him.
We just doubled it. He could sense. He hears a hot mic and he just follows
Yeah.
that vibe.
We should have asked him for a freestyle.
Yeah, shit.
Class is a really sweet guy, by the way. He's really nice.
Yeah, like you guys have bonded quite a lot.
Yeah, I mean, he like every time he sees me, he says my name. He goes, Timmy 10 stacks. That's what they call me.
Timmy 10 stacks?
Because because I'm making so many stacks at the merch table.
I wanted to ask you about that because we had dinner not too long ago at this, although it feels like quite a long time ago also, considering you're still on that bus. It must have been, It was before Halloween. Like, that's crazy to me. But anyways, you were kind of giving me some merch tips, but I'm curious, A, what's the best way to sell merch to people? And B, we talk about merch a lot on this podcast. We talk about Blink-182's merch and how ugly it is, but do people actually want to buy ugly merch?
I always wanted the rabbit, like the skanking rabbit.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool.
Like
but
when I was a kid.
But
The first piece of band merch I ever owned was a Gob hoodie with like it had like all the scout badges on it. And I remember like trying to get my mom to like order it for me. I was like, Mom, I've got the money. I've got $30, Mom. I need you to order this for me because I don't have a checkbook. And she's like, who would ever pay $30 for a sweater? It's ridiculous. Back in those days, we called them kangaroos.
And where did you live again at that
I've
point?
never heard the term hoodie. I'm from the Sunshine Coast in British Columbia.
Yeah.
But like as we've been in the prairies, everyone calls them bunny hugs.
They still do? I thought that was sort of like a myth about the early 2000s.
Yeah, all through Saskatchewan.
That's
People point
crazy.
at it and they go, "How much is the bunny hug?"
That is so ridiculous. Um, so what's the best way to like
Yeah.
get them to buy it? Like, how are you making your stacks here?
Well, here's the trick. People don't want you to be nice to them. They want to like earn your respect. You know what I mean? So people are ready for like a delicate hazing when they walk up to the merch table. And then once they see that you are like an engaging and friendly person, but you're sort of giving them a bit of a hard time, like what they want then is to like win you over a little bit. So they buy something and they like make a conversation out of it, show that they're a good sport, you know? That's the best way. If there's any people out there, any kids who are looking at getting into being a merch seller for a touring band, that's probably the best way to do it.
Or if you're trying to not get suckered into buying something, just realize that these are the mind games at play.
Those are the mind games that we deal with. Yeah, it's um, yeah. This woman showed me a picture of her kids last night, and I was like, "Your kids look like racists." They were like blonde hair, blue eyes, three kids. Because she's trying to tell me her whole life story here, and she's going, "I got three kids, okay?" And I was like, "Well, how old are these kids? Because you look about 26." And she's like, "I am 26, and they're 10, 8, and 6." And I was like, "Okay, let's show me a picture of these kids. I guess you have when you were 16." And she like holds them up, and I was like, "These are the whitest kids I've ever seen." And she's like, "My friends call them Hitler's dream."
Oh my god.
I thought, that's ridiculous. I said, "Your kids look like racists. They look like they should be holding tiki torches and marching down the streets of Sudbury." And she's like, "No, actually," she's like, "there's actually a black kid at their school who's racist to them because of their beautiful white skin. He says that their freckles look like pimples." And I was like, and she's like, "I had to go into the school and yell at this little kid." And I was like, "Hold on. Please don't tell me you're about to say something racist." And she's like, "No, I'm just telling you, I had to really tell him off, and like they get a hard time because they're so white. So actually people are racist to them. And maybe they are a little racist, but everyone is." And I was like, I don't even know what to say. I was like, "They look like they're all named Logan." And she said, "Oh, their names are Soul, Lyric, and Harmony." And she says their dad's a rapper,
Oh my! So I'm starting to see the other
a
problem.
white rapper.
The other thing that you keep tweeting about, I don't know if you wanted to talk about this or not, but it is his time right now. He just released a song with Blink-182 last week, but everyone loves to tell you that because you have long hair, and because of your background or your heritage, that you look like Steve Aoki, even though you clearly don't. Like, how many times does that
It's
happen to
crazy
you
to me
every
because
day?
I don't. Every day, it's usually 10 or 12 times a day, but I only tweet the ones that I think are really like obnoxious. Like most of the time, people just yell Steve Aoki at me. Like it happens not just at shows, but like out of moving cars, or if I'm in the mall, I'm buying like a pack of Tums at 7-Eleven, and the guy will be like, "Thanks, Steve Aoki," and I'll be like, "Fuck." Like it never ends. And what's really crazy about it is I don't look like Steve Aoki. I'm half white and half Chinese. Steve Aoki is fully Japanese. He's like 40 years old. I'd say like quite a spry 31. And he doesn't wear glasses.
Yeah, he does. He dresses
And
nothing like
people
you.
always say, "Oh, they go, oh, it's the glasses that make me think that." And I was like, "Actually, Steve Aoki doesn't wear glasses." But they're always like, "Yeah, I think he does." And you're like, "No, trust me. I've had to Google this yesterday for someone."
So in that sense, maybe being the merch guy doesn't help because you are on this sort of one-on-one interaction with all of these awful, awful people.
Yeah, it is. I'm like the main point of interaction for people who are at the show. They're there, they're drunk, they're toothless, and they're ready to, they got babysitter for the night. They're there at the show to have a good time, but because they're so drunk, they don't really know what to do, and they're the only person they can talk to is me.
Right.
So people just come with like these sort of like pent up sort of like they need to have some sort of interaction with someone, whether they're like angry or like sad or upset, or they feel like, like they lost $20 on the ground, but they like need to come and tell me about it, you know?
Right.
I'm the person I'm like the customer complaints department.
Yeah, or
but
like,
the thing that they don't realize is that I just don't fucking care at all. You know what I mean?
and
And
you're
my job is like not to make people happy.
you're playing mind games with them and making them buy bunny hugs, so it doesn't really matter.
I'll do anything to sell these bunny hugs. I had to order like I ran out of bunny hugs halfway through the tour and had to order like another 200 of them. So
is the hoodie
I'm definitely
like, what's the hottest merch item that you're selling, and is it surprising to you what it is?
well, we sell a lot of hoodies. Usually, like if I sell $3,000 worth of merch, $1,500 of that will be the one hoodie that we have.
Wow.
It's just one hoodie, but it's $1,500.
You sell one, yeah. That's good.
Very limited. I number it every night. Yeah.
I thought
we sell a lot of the hoodies.
Is it a pullover or a zip up?
It's a pullover.
Okay, all right. That tracks for me.
Yeah, it's at the reasonable price of $50. So it's pretty cheap for a hoodie at like a theater show.
Right. Wow. Okay, that's
And
amazing.
we saw a lot of toques as well, which I've also heard some great names for.
What names have you heard? Because Americans call them beanies.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying beanies. One person said a tam.
A tam? Oh my god.
That's like what they say in Scotland.
Yeah, was it Nardwar asking for it? I feel like that's what he calls
What's
it.
that?
I said, was that Nardwar asking you about the tam?
Nardwar definitely wears the tam.
Yeah, totally. All right, well, what about this? Do people ever ask you to pass on messages to the rappers, or like ask them perhaps to pass on a demo?
Definitely. At least 2 or 3 people a night ask me if they can pass on a message, or if they can give me something to like pass on. And usually people drop off bags of weed.
Well, that's pretty good.
But these guys are on like essentially a weed tour, so they get all the free weed they want. Like we go to we'll pull up to like a weed store, and they'll get like sponsored by like they'll give away a bunch of weed hats or whatever. Well, there's a weed company that came to our show in Guelph, I think, or Barrie, and we gave away $5,000 worth of bongs on stage.
Amazing. But I was also just trying to segue.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's so, yeah. I mean, I guess it's also the perfect time in history where weed is now legal, and you're touring across the weed country with some weeded out Canadian rappers. It's all too perfect.
I might be the only person on the bus that doesn't smoke weed.
So you're the designated driver.
Yeah, I'm gonna be driving the bus, I think.
And you also brought Mario Kart on the tour, so that you could be sort of the popular guy on the bus.
Yeah, I went by. I was on the tour for like a week or so, and I was thinking that, I was like, I need to up my game a little bit here, show that I'm essential, because they did bring me in because they fired the last merch girl they had. So they had a girl that was on the tour for like 2 days, and they like flew me out from Vancouver at the last minute. I had like 1 day notice, and they flew me out, and I was like, well, if that girl could be replaced so easily, I got to really cement my place here. So I went to the GameStop or whatever and got Mario Kart 8 and a Nintendo Switch, and yeah, I 4 of those like steering wheel controller adapters,
Oh, hell yeah.
and I feel like I am super cool now, I think.
I mean, there was no question beforehand, but yeah, now they need you because they can't go out and buy a Switch if they get rid of you.
No, they're $379, as I discovered.
So, anyways, I've tried segueing and it has failed, but I want to ask you about the song Untitled 1 by Blink-182. And knowing that it's from the demo, I'm curious because you get a lot of demos for Kingfisher Bluez, and we're even on a demo email thread with our friend Ryan. So, if you had heard this demo, what would you have done
Yeah.
with it?
I think it is like, I mean, I love Blink-182. For me, Blink-182 is like the band that I remember being like 8 years old or 10 years old, I guess I probably was when, what year did What's My Age Again come out?
Oh, everyone always asks me about years, and I'm really dumb and don't know. But I think that was probably 99 or 2000.
I was like, okay, so if it was like, well, because I remember the song, what's it called? The party song that was on the Can't Hardly Wait soundtrack. That's maybe the first time I heard Blink-182. And then like I immediately went out and bought Dude Ranch. And like I remember hearing like What's My Age Again when I was, I guess maybe like 12 or something. I was in like a shoe store buying shoes with my mom, and I remember hearing it and being like, oh, like this is punk. This is like free bonus punk that I'm hearing on the radio. I remember being really excited because I was just like, I was thinking, oh, no one in the store knows, but punk is happening right now in Sport Check.
Yeah, I like that you said that free bonus punk.
It's just like
it's like you're getting away with something by listening to punk in a store.
Yeah. I just like I felt really subversive at that point. I felt like I could untuck my anarchy necklace.
What kind of shoes were you buying?
I Blink-182 is the band where when I started playing music, I learned all their songs. I loved. I mean, if I got this demo in my inbox, I would be like, hell yeah. It is like a little lacking in hooks compared to their other hits from around the same time. This is a really deep cut, I think, because I don't know if I've ever heard it before. I had to go through and listen to it before the podcast.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely is lacking hooks.
And I'm a big fan. Like,
I hadn't heard it until we compiled this giant list as well.
Well, I am like, I sort of came of age like when I was listening to Blink-182. The only access you had to that stuff was through what the band released. There was no like way to find like the obscure demos and stuff. So I mean, I had like all the stuff that was on Buddha and the Cheshire Cat, and like there's like a version of Buddha with like a bunch of demos at the end, right?
Yeah,
so but like I've heard a bunch of these demos and stuff, but I don't remember ever hearing this one. Or maybe just it does have the name like Untitled 1, right?
Yeah, this one is from what's called Demo 2, which was never properly released. So it's only been surfaced in kind of the era of like bootleg internet stuff. I don't think anyone had heard it back then.
Yeah, I mean, like, I dig it. I sort of got excited thinking, oh, we're gonna do the song Untitled, but then I saw Untitled #1, and I thought, gosh, this must be like the prequel to Untitled.
Yeah, it's weird that it's titled like that, but I think this was just named by the fans who uploaded it. I mean, we can talk about the regular Untitled if you want as well, but I do think that it proves again that like this kind of music really works well with a lo-fi aesthetic, and I wish more people would do that.
I love the sound of it, and I love like those early Blink-182 songs where like they're less concerned with rhyming and stuff as they are with like just like the pure like slacker mall punk emotion of like like, oh, I'm in high school, like I love my girlfriend so much, I love skateboarding, I'm bored, and like a lot of the songs are about just being bored and lonely and like and tired, and I really like that vibe.
Yeah, totally. It's very ahead of its time in terms of how big that was even like 5 or 10 years ago with waves and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely like got that soccer rock like um I like that they're like a California band, and you can tell in like their accents and the way that they sing is like it just sounds so classic for the time.
The way that it starts kind of sounds to me like what I imagine Jawbreaker sounds like, but I've never really gotten that into Jawbreaker.
Yeah, I think, well, I mean, they definitely have the same sort of production. Early Blink-182 always reminds me of like Screeching Weasel or like any sort of like thrashy like pop punk band from around that time. Like it has that same sort of the drums just sound like the guys hitting like a bunch of cardboard boxes or something with
Yeah.
like a feather duster. It's like
Totally. That's such a even coming through Skype, that sounded exactly like the drums. It's really well done.
thank you.
So for you then, what is kind of your perfect Blink era? And I know that you like Alkaline Trio, so how do you feel about Matt Skiba being in the band now?
I love it. I think like Tom is hilarious as his own sort of thing, and I would love to see like what happens. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not really encouraging him to get back together with Blink-182. I saw Blink with Matt Skiba, and I thought it was great. And like I will cherish that era. Like for me, I love Dude Ranch, and that's my favorite era probably. Like the songs are like they have that like big. That's like the first time they have that big sort of full studio production, but like the songs are still about really like ridiculous stuff, and like it doesn't take itself super seriously, and it's really like it sounds like a group of guys just like seeing if they can make each other laugh.
Right. And
But
that's my favorite too. That's the best vibe. Just other people trying to make
and
each
if I
other
could go
laugh.
back in time, yeah, have you heard of that book, Every Anxious Wave?
No.
Oh, it's about someone who like discovers a time machine, but what they use the time machine for is to like offer a service to send people back in time to see their favorite bands like that are now like dead or broken up.
Whoa.
Yeah, if that happened, I would go back and see Blink-182, playing at like Gilman or whatever. I'd love
Yeah.
to see them just like play in a guy's basement or whatever in that era. But like I'm not super like I don't really want to see them all get back together now, because like when you go see the Pixies and you know how much they all hate each other, and they play the record and it sounds exactly like the record, but you're like, I don't think anyone's really having fun, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my dream is that Tom will rejoin, but Matt Skiba will stay because I feel like they could never properly play the songs with only one guitar, anyways. So if they had like another
Yeah.
guitarist and it was Matt Skiba, that would be kind of a dream super group.
I want to see like what else To the Stars Academy is gonna do, because I
Yeah.
think like the rollout for that was so good. I
Yeah.
loved how it had like at the end of the video it was like www dot to the stars academy, and then it didn't have like a .com or whatever, but it was like misaligned so that it obviously did have like a .com, but maybe they hadn't like registered it yet, and they're like, oh, maybe it'll be .net, and they're like, let's just leave it off altogether, but they didn't like realign it, so it was just like off center and you could tell where the .com used to be.
Oh my god, I didn't notice that, but that's amazing. I can't wait. I'm really hoping that one day
Yeah.
we're gonna trick Tom into coming on the podcast for the Aliens Exist episode. That's the dream.
Are you saving that one for him? Because probably
Yeah.
when people are are talking about coming on the podcast, the first thing they're thinking is, oh, we need to get Aliens Exist.
Yeah, exactly. No, that one's saved for Tom. So that one will be ready to go whenever he's ready for us. We've been turned down by his PR
I
guy
mean,
multiple times.
I think like once you can show that you have like it's like the Gilmore Guys podcast, they started getting like guests like, once they were at a certain amount of listeners, it's like then they're calling the shots, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's why we need
Like
everyone's
they
mom to
they were
download it.
basically, yeah, I think they were like they were like responsible for Gilmore Girls getting put back on the air in some way. So like once you're big enough to get Blink 182 to reunite, then that's when like Tom's gonna be calling you, going, Josiah or Josie, I need to get you to let me on the podcast. I want to do that Aliens Exist episode. I need to plug the new Blink 182 reunion.
Yeah, I mean that'll be perfect. So let's to wrap things up here. Before I'm gonna let you plug everything you do. But first, we're talking about demos. We're talking about bands that are like sort of in their prime. These beautiful young bands. What would be your advice to young bands who are starting out today? What should they not do and what should they do?
I think like for the absolute worst thing to me is like just a really terrible, boring, or like stupid band name. It's good to just go with to not follow like trends. The worst thing right now is every band being called like something, grand. There's granddad, there's let's see, grandma, there's like grandpa or like great grandpa. There's so many dad or granddad
Oh, like
or grandma bands,
mommy.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So like I think, if you're naming your band something and like everyone is like, "Oh, that's just like this other band," then you might be like, maybe we're not at the point of the zeitgeist, but instead we're just sort of like, copying bands that are already have something or whatever.
Right.
So like
Yeah.
to name your band something that is not like original is not gonna to do well for you in the long run, I think.
Perfect.
I think the most important thing like a new band can do is just to be like, don't be afraid to be like engaging, or like don't be like it's one thing to like just be like offensive or whatever. Like a lot of bands think, oh, it's great just to have someone talking about you, so they'll act really obnoxious. But I think to just let your to for me, I play in a band, Tim the Mute, and I want to like, it's important to me. I'm like sort of a quieter, more introverted guy, and like what I try to do is project my true self as like a really sort of blown up, like exaggerated thing. So you don't have to be quiet to be like shy and reserved. You know what I mean? You can sort of be proud about it. And I think for a front person of a band, it is important to just like allow yourself to be like that engaging person at the front of the band. You don't have to like, show of it. You just can be like that true version of yourself in like that simple way that makes a front man really good.
Totally. Perfect.
The most upsetting thing for me is to see like a boring front man,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think a lot of people just forget that they need to be entertaining or engaging in one way or another. It's not just about them up there.
Yeah, I think for people like us who go to a lot of like indie or DIY shows, there's a lot of people who are like afraid um to be like too cool or to look like they're trying too hard. But you don't really have to like, it doesn't really count as trying too hard to like just try to like entertain the people who you're asking to pay money to watch you play in your band, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about unlocking your inner ninja.
Yes, absolutely. That's something that that classified has taught us.
So, Tim, what do you want to plug before we let you get back to life on the road?
Well, my name is Tim, and I play in a band called Tim the Mute, and I have a new album out called Do In Yourself, and it's on Bandcamp, Spotify, and Apple Music, and all that stuff. And yeah, check out my record label, Kingfisher Bluez. I put out a record for Prenup, the best band out of Calgary, Alberta. And I'm putting out a new record for Prenup next month.
Oh yeah, you are. I completely forgot about that actually, but you are. So yeah, look for that.
Yeah. It's for the hit song "War on Christmas" by Prenup.
Yeah. And listen to Blink 155, and I guess probably, well, this is going to come out tomorrow. Can anyone find you on the Classified tour if they want?
Yeah, I'm gonna be in Toronto tomorrow, and I'm gonna be in Montreal the next day, and then the day after, I'm hanging out in downtown Toronto. I'm going to the Monkey's Paw bookshop, and if anyone has any recommendations, you can find me on Twitter at Kingfisher Bluez, on Instagram. I'm down to hang with anyone who wants to show me where to get vegan food and used books.
Perfect. Well, let's give Tim a warm Blink 155 Toronto welcome this weekend.
Yeah, we'll have a podcast meetup, Sunday afternoon. I'll see you there.
Perfect.
Man and ninja, man and ninja, man and ninja, man and ninja.
Hey yo, I've been high and I've been real low. Yeah.